Hi, Justin and Drew. This is Spanish class for September the 4th. I need for you to print out page 8 and 9 from the links and grab a pencil before we get started. You can pause the video for just a minute. You already did pages 5, 6, and 7, or at least I saw that you both turned in something, and I'll be checking that this weekend. Be sure that you check back on Google Classroom when I send something back to you to see if there's corrections that you can learn from. Now, we have a test scheduled on the review material on Wednesday. That means I will post it if you want to take it on Thursday instead of Wednesday. That will give you time to see my corrections on pages 8 and 9. See if there's anything you kind of need to correct in your mind about that and before you take the test. But if you will take it either Wednesday or Thursday, Thursday is fine. All right, here we go. So for today, we're going to go back to page 6. You've already looked at page 6. This is the page that started talking about el, la, los, and las. And then at the bottom of the page, we looked at es and son. This came up today in class when we looked at pages 8 and 9. So I want to go back to this for just a minute. Do you remember last year that we talked about when es is at the beginning of a sentence and it's capitalized because it starts the sentence, that it really just means, because es means is, it means is the teacher. That makes zero sense in English, no sense at all. In English, we have to have an extra word. It is the teacher. In Spanish, this makes perfect sense. They understand that in their language, it means it is the teacher. It's English that has to have the extra word. So you need to realize that if you see it at the beginning of a sentence, you've got to put that extra word in there for it to make sense in English. Now, that part we have down pretty well. However, when we got to are, son means are, the same thing happens. At the beginning of a sentence, son is capitalized, and son los maestros, they are the teachers. The son means they are, okay? This word, technically it just means are, but in English, we have to have the word they in there. So it's really important that you get that in your mind. You can highlight those in this way, or you could circle them and draw a line and circle, whatever works for that to stick in your brain, that you need to add that extra word when those words are at the beginning of a sentence. Okay, moving on. We had done some workbook pages already, 5, 6, and 7, that practiced all the little individual things you do to a sentence. Now we're going to put it all together. So today's work is pages 8 and 9. I'm going to go over the directions with you. This says translate the sentences into Espanol, being careful to use all of the ideas that we are learning. So there it is. They are. If you've already forgotten, look back at page 6 to see what word you need for they are. And then don't forget, the has 4 different ways to be said. So first, you've got to figure out the noun, desks. It doesn't specify what kind of desk, so you could use either kind, you remember. And then it's plural, so remember what you have to do to the, okay? So if you will complete this page, it should look pretty familiar because we did this last year in our workbook. It's just practicing what we did. All right. And then one more page, and then this will be the last one that is part of the review material. Page 9, la página 9, asking questions, ¿qué son and quiénes son? So the directions say on the first line, write a what or a who question in Spanish about each picture. In class, I noticed that a number of students just started writing questions without really thinking about what the directions said. It's not telling you to write a yes or a no question. It's telling you use the interrogative words. Write a what question or a who question. So let's think about it for a minute. In the first one, we're talking about lights, right? And so lights are objects, so obviously it's going to be a what question. You're going to use the word for what and ask what are they, correct? And then in the second line, you're going to answer the question using a complete sentence. Remember that complete sentences don't have to be long, they just need to answer the question. Okay, and looking down the page, we've got people, who, right? And more people, so the question is going to be who. And finally, a couple of computers, really old-fashioned ones, I think, and they are objects, so of course, what is going to be the question? So practice writing what or who questions and then answering them in Spanish. And that's the last 2 pages of the review. I look forward to getting your work. Adios.